Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to take a look and see how we're able to implement some remote services, and specifically, how do we do that within the Liferay world. Let's go ahead and dive right in. If you want to, just as I did, I closed all of the tabs beforehand just to make things a little bit neat and easy. And we're going to head over to the build.gradle first and foremost. Over here in the build.gradle, we're going to declare a couple of dependencies that we're going to be needing later on. Again, in practice, you might declare these as you need them. Since the training environment, we already have an idea of what we want. We can declare it beforehand. But again, typically in practice, we're going to be declaring these things as we need them. So the first one is going to be the portlet API, and then the second one is going to be the servlet API. Again, feel free to copy and paste from the materials that you should have on hand. Just to make your life easier. I'm making my life infinitely harder by typing it out. Again, save, and whenever you modify a build.gradle file, it's always a good idea to run your Gradle refresh. You can see the progress that appeared down at the bottom right. All right, very good. So next thing, we declared our dependencies. The next thing we're going to do is declare or implement our methods. Now in the materials, you'll notice them referred to as facade methods. Why is that? Because typically in the Liferay world, Liferay best practice is that the remote services act as kind of like a wrapper or as a facade. I prefer the term wrapper, but it kind of acts as a wrapper around the local services. So in reality, what's actually happening is the remote services are calling the local services. Later on, we'll take a look and see how we can use those remote services as a means of permission checking. But for now, first things first, let's head over to the assignment service impl. Again, our impl classes is where all of the magic happens. So heading over to my materials, we're going to be copy and pasting some code. Right, so we're going to be grabbing the code here for the add assignment, as well as the delete assignment and a number of other methods. And then we'll paste them here within the assignment service impl. Save the class, use Control-Shift-O to bring in your necessary imports. We're going to grab the service context and the Java util list, and finally the Java util date. And then save the file, making sure all of those errors goes away. All right, very good. So let's take a peek here and take a look at some of the key aspects of this snippet of code we just added. So we'll see the add assignment method up here towards the top, and you see that it simply calls the API of our local service like so. Right, as you go through, you'll kind of see the same thing occurring. We're actually just calling our local service API to implement these specific methods that we're implementing in the remote service. So this is the Liferay pattern. This is a Liferay best practice that we prefer here in the Liferay world. So again, the remote service acts as a wrapper or facade for the local service. So we use the remote service to call the local services, as we've seen here throughout the code. Again, there's our finders. Again, that's one of my favorite things to see within the Liferay world. Just as we've done with the local service, whatever we put or whatever changes we make in the assignment service impl, we need to run service builder. So let's go ahead and run service builder. It's generating the methods in the remote API, right, making sure all of those things are taken care of. Right, rule of thumb, always Gradle refresh after we run service builder. I know I've repeated it quite a number of times, but again, it's a very important aspect to consider. Okay, so let's do a quick double check. Go ahead and double check your code that you have with what we have within our exercises. Make sure that everything lines up as it should. Right, so I have my APIs here that we added, the portlet and the servlet API. Right, so things look good there. Everything should be fine here. I think all of my curly brackets line up. I did paste within the class, so I think everything is good. Just for sanity check, I'm going to run service builder one more time, just in case. Again, you don't have to, but this is just more so for my own sake. Refreshing Gradle. All right, very good. If your server hasn't been running this whole time, go ahead and take this opportunity to run the server. Pause the video if you need to. And once your server is up and running, we can go ahead and take our Gradebook API and our Gradebook service, and you can drag it into the server. Again, in this sort of development world, it's perfectly fine to drag and drop. My personal preference is to deploy using Gradle, but drag and drop is also fine. Okay, very good. So we should see started here. If you want to use some of your debugging methodologies, you can feel free to do so. We can open up the GoGo shell, type LB for list bundle, and just double check that our bundles are indeed active, as you can see there. All right, so very good. This wraps it up for this video and this exercise, and I will see you in the next video.